So moving up, we have got the exposure unit. So the exposure unit is very important. To expose the screen, we need a light source, and we are trying to kind of imitate the UV rays from the sunlight, and but we are doing it in a very controlled environment. That's why UV light works best for exposing our screens. If you are not able to afford at the moment when you're starting out a professional exposure unit, you can do some DIY. If you can build one by yourself, that will be good enough. Okay, this will help you to get started, at least for the printing, and this will work for any kind of solid, spot color vector designs, whether it's a single color or a multicolor. You'll be able to expose using the DIY exposure unit. However, when it comes to detailed designs or very complex artworks, then you will definitely need a professional exposure unit, especially the UV exposure unit. So I would definitely recommend you to go and get, or if you have the budget, go and get one professional exposure unit. If you are already using some kind of DIY exposure unit, and if you have a budget, then also I strongly recommend you to go and invest one in the professional one. It will really make a world of a difference in the final print output, and also you'll have a smooth workflow. I know there are a lot of videos available online where you can see people doing or making a lot of DIY exposure unit, but like I said, it will work to a certain level. But when you are looking for a professional touch, when you are looking to provide some professional service, then definitely there will be some difference. The professional exposure unit, usually it comes in various light sources. I would say the main thing is the light source, and you have the basic exposure unit with UV light source. It's the basic starter professional exposure unit, I would say. And then you have the exposure unit with UV light, but then it has got a lid or a cover on top of it. That also, if you can invest, that is a good one, so that you can avoid putting all those weight on top, and this will give you an ease of doing work. And after that, you have got the exposure unit with UV light, but then with a vacuum. So the vacuum role is to minimize the gap between the screen and the glass. We don't need any gap between the screen and the glass. So that is why we use a vacuum, so that there is no gap at all, so that the light hits only the design part, and that is bare minimum requirement for exposure unit.